Madison. Welcome to Thursday Ramblings with the Traveling Knitter. I'm so glad to be back with you today it's a dreary Thursday here in New Jersey, but we need it. We need that rainfall. We haven't had it in a minute, so I am fully embracing it. I've got a cup of tea, iced tea, because it's still hot outside, and I've got some knits to talk to you about, and I'm really excited to get started. So why don't I start with what I'm wearing? I'm wearing my Diona tee by Sari Nordland in Westwool's Tandem in Dijon, and it's a cable tee pattern that was originally a sweater design that she made into a t-shirt. I love making a t-shirt. I'm not a fan of long sleeves unless it's obviously like a cardigan. So I am super happy with this. This was one of my Make 9 items for this year, and so I can't wait to wear this. I'm gonna go take this to Rhinebeck. Hopefully it's nice and chilly out, because this is the great kind of like transition piece to keep you warm when it's a little chilly out, and then it'll be a great layering piece for winter. So it's an all over cable on the front, and then it's got a nice ribbed detail on the back, so it's nice and stretchy. It's so comfortable, and this yarn in particular is one of my favorite DK yarns that I've ever worked with. So I definitely would love to knit another sweater or t-shirt in this particular yarn. It is so comfy. It was such a joy to knit. But yeah, that is what I'm wearing today. What I am listening to. So normally I share a book that I've been listening to on audiobook, but for those who don't know me very well, I'm a huge Swiftie, and we are a few days out, about actually a week out from the release of Taylor Swift's 12th album. So I've been going back and listening to each of the albums, starting all the way back at her debut album, every day listening to the whole album. And today's album is Folklore, which is one of my top 3 albums. I love this album. It gives late summer, early fall vibes, and I have it on vinyl. This is one of my favorite ways to listen to music. It's a beautiful album to listen to in this way. I also listen to it on Spotify. I also own it digitally. But yeah, I absolutely love this album. And so later today, while I'm knitting on my whips, I'm going to be listening to Folklore. But yeah, if you are just as excited as me about the new album release, I'm working on a project right now which is a little inspired by the new colors of the new album, and I can't wait for next Friday to listen to it on repeat, as well as go see the release party in theaters. So that is what I'm listening to. And what am I drinking? I am currently drinking some Stash Raspberry Hibiscus iced tea. This is normally like a hot tea. It comes in little bags. Normally this is not what I enjoy drinking, like this method. I don't really love bagged tea, but this is one of the easier when I want iced tea and I don't feel like brewing a whole slew of loose tea or harvesting lemon balm from my garden. This is a great way for me to still enjoy a nice tea. So I brewed two tea bags in about 8 ounces of water, so it's a little more concentrated. And then because I'm going to eventually dilute it with some water, I actually heat up tap water with a little bit of honey and lemon on the stove. And then I let those like all cook down and let the honey kind of loosen up and mix in with the lemon in the water. And then I put the tea that's been steeped and the lemon water mixture into a bowl to like cool off together, and then I put it in my fridge and I drink it. So put it in the fridge to cool off, then I'll drink it. So it's just got a little bit of sweetness from that honey, and it's very delicious. So that is what I'm drinking today. Okay, so It's been, as I say, a minute since I've updated you on some finished objects. And boy, do I have some finished objects for you. So, the first thing that I finished is my latest Stephen West shawl. This is the Fiber Fast Shawl by Stephen West. I have been working on this for the last couple months. This is in Sewrella yarn, Evie, Cruel Summer, and Supper at 6. So this is one of, Stephen West obviously is one of my favorite designers. I love all the texture and different design elements that he adds into all of his patterns. And this in particular was a lot of fun just because I really enjoyed the yarn. Sewrella yarn is one of my favorite hand-dyed yarns. Now, I discovered her yarn a couple years ago at an event that I'm really glad no longer exists. But it was the best way for me to find out that I love this dyer's yarn because she's not local to me. She, I believe, is based in South Carolina. She does do different collections that she does like different shop updates for on her website. So when I can catch her yarn online, I will. If not, I try to catch her at festivals. I do think she's going to be up at Rhinebeck, but I could be wrong. Anyway, I'm super in love with this shawl. Let's get into some of the details. So I believe I remember mentioning last time that I did make a mistake on one of the elements in the shawl, and that was, it started off here because this was my cast on edge. This section, I was supposed to hold the blue Evie yarn in front as I made these baubles, and I didn't. So what I decided, since this repeat was going to happen a couple of different times, that I was going to do it incorrect twice and correct twice. So here I did it incorrect up here, as well as in this section here. And then in this second and fourth repeats of this, I held it correctly. So it doesn't, it's, in my mind, it's not really a mistake anymore. It's kind of like I just chose to alternate between holding it in the front and holding it in the back. But yeah, I am not a huge fan of making baubles while I'm knitting, and that's just a personal preference. Not that I don't love the look of them afterwards. They're beautiful, but they're a lot of work, and if you do flinch one way or another, sometimes you drop the whole bauble and then you want to scream. That's how I'm going to put it. I could say lots of other words, but the nice way of saying it is it makes you want to scream. What I do really love about the making of the shawl is the little sections of brioche, especially the brioche edge that we do at the bottom here. So I love these little chevrons that we do, and then we kind of mimic it in these reverse stockinette and stockinette stripes at the bottom. So those are my favorite elements of the shawl. If I could knit this in this yarn all of the time, I would. It is one of my favorite yarns to knit in, and I absolutely love, love, love it. But yeah, this is my first finished object for this week or this month or whatever, because I don't know when I'll film again, but yay. Alright, my next finished object is this cute little gift hat. The other two finished objects I have were gifts. So this one, which I don't have to send off right away, this is the Love in a Mist hat by Elenor Mortensen. It's a colorwork hat. I did it in Emma's yarn, the sock base in Later Gator. And then the green is this Avalon Spring Farms Pendragon and Frog prints. I love how this turned out. I really want to do one of these for myself. I think I'm going to either, I might go into my stash and see what of the Primrose yarn or spin cycle I have to do some color changing diamonds on my version, but I wanted to do kind of like just like a basic, so you could really see the geometric beautifulness of this hat. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and it was a joy to knit. It's very fast to knit. I still have to weave in my couple ends that I have at the bottom, but this was a very quick hat to knit up. One thing, because it's color work, maybe do a small gauge swatch to see if you're going to match gauge, because I do think, especially towards the decreases, I did tighten up a little bit. Naturally, you're supposed to, because you are decreasing stitches, but I'm wondering maybe if my tension got a little tighter as I was decreasing, because I was just really excited to finish the hat. So this is my beautiful Love in a Mist hat. Again, Elenor Mortensen wrote this pattern. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and I will have it linked below. Oh man, I love these colors so much. All right. Now, my last finished object has been the bane of my existence. And I realized in the last week that not only does it fit my husband, it also fits me. If not, it's a little snug in the shoulders. But let me put that. This next knit is an oversized sweatshirt on Dan, and it is a very comfortable, not like super tight, form-fitting knit on myself. And then this was knit to be Dan's size. So let me show you. This is Dan's finished Catknit sweater. This was knit in a size 3, which was supposed to be an oversized but not so oversized sweater for Dan, because the last one I knit him was really, really form-fitting. This is by Andrea Rangel. And I knit it in Tukuwool fingering in the Vihta and the light gray colorway. The whole idea behind it, this was a anniversary gift for my husband for our 5th wedding anniversary. And we love cats. We have 4 cats. So I saw the sweater. He loved the sweater when I showed it to him on Ravelry. And so the idea was I was going to knit him this for our wedding anniversary, which was last Wednesday. Can I count days? One thing that I neglected to remember was that the body, once the color work was done, I was supposed to go down in needle size. I did not do that. So that's why it's a really oversized sweatshirt for my husband, and it fits me, because the body is probably the gauge of a size 5 rather than a size 3. It is very big. It looks like it's my size. I swear I knit his size. But this is why we are supposed to gauge swatch. And also why Madison doesn't, because now I get to steal this sweater every once in a while when I feel like it. So, yay. Anyway, I really did enjoy knitting up the cats. I will say, this particular yarn, while I do enjoy rustic yarn, it was not super fun to knit in color work for me. The yarn kept being like Velcro, wanting to stick together, and it made it go a lot slower than I wanted it to. I might also, instead of knitting it in a fingering weight, I might try to gauge it for a DK, because I just, knitting on a size 2 and 3 was not a blast for me. But it is beautiful, and I do really love these cats, and I'm going to figure out how to knit this on a bigger gauge. But yeah, this is Dan and my anniversary present, I guess. Unintentionally. All right, so whips. I'm going to start on one that has been in timeout for a minute because of other projects that I was trying to finish by specific dates. Let's see. All right, it is like this. This is my first whip of today, and it is my Pictus pullover. Pictus, this is by Teti Lutzak. I'll have the link down below to the pattern, and I am off of Body Island. She needs a good block. I'm holding her like this so you can see all the color work. I used the Primrose yarn Sport Replay in the gray-blue colorway for my all-over sweater. And then the color changing yarn is their Homestead Sport in Big Truck. So I finished the body Tuesday. Wow, dates, can't remember. Tuesday, and I started this first sleeve yesterday, and I spoke to my really awesome friend Victoria, who is also a knitter and crocheter, and I said 3/4 length sleeves or short sleeves, and she knows me very well, and while I do have the yarn to do long sleeves, we're going short sleeves. So I have just finished the color work on this sleeve, and I am now going to go into a very small ribbing, kind of like I did on the collar, so it's not super noticeable, because I wanted the ribbing at the bottom to be very noticeable. This one I did on a size 2, and I'm literally just gonna do like 2 or 3 rows and then call it good. And then yeah, I'll move on to the second sleeve and we'll be all done. This was another project that was on my Make 9 for this year, along with the Fiber Fast Shawl, which I showed you before. So this is project 5. 5 will be done. I did start cast on project 6, which is a hat. So we have a couple that are smaller items to work on, but this is the 5th project that will be done, and she should be done by the end of today, and I'm really excited about it, and I can't wait to wear her at Rhinebeck. I got this beautiful corduroy style skirt that's got pockets. It's in a like brown, sandy brown color, and so I'm going to wear her with that. I figured because we always get really warm at Rhinebeck and I'm going to be wearing wool on top, I should probably wear like a nice breezy bottom. So that's one of my tips for going to Rhinebeck ever, is making sure you're wearing the right clothes. And if you are someone that gets warm, overstimulated when it's hot and gross, bring outfit changes. No one's going to care if you switch from a pullover to a shawl or a tank top or a sports bra. Whatever is appropriate for being outside. Anyway, I don't like to tough it out when it's hot, so you shouldn't either. But this is my sweater. So you can see both of my Rhinebeck sweaters are going to be short sleeve, and I am a-okay with that, because the last couple of years have been very hot. I would rather be chilly and have to run inside to warm up than be inside and sweating. So, yes, I'm going to stop. See, this is why we call it Thursday Ramblings. I'm just going to ramble. Oh, I meant to share this. This is one of my favorite elements of this sweater, is it's because the colorways are very close to, like, in shade. For a lot of this, you can't really tell, but there's, I don't know what the wording for this is. Broken corrugated something? Words? English? Don't know. Essentially, I alternate each row. So one row is all blue, and then one row is blue colored changing yarn, blue color changing yarn, going back and forth. So, yes, yes. Woo! Project number 1. All right. The next project is something I am doing in tandem with my friend Victoria, who I'm going to Rhinebeck with. She mentioned wanting to do the Ooey Gooey cowl by Andrea Renee Nuts. There's a sweater that's like the Rhinebeck sweater for this year. I have a whole bunch of commentary on doing group sweater projects for large events, but I won't say them right now because that's not what this is all about. I like the pattern for the sweater. I do not want it on a sweater. Like, I like the stitch work pattern. So when she came out with a cowl, I was very excited about it, and Tori wanted to do one with me. So this is mine so far. I did put this on pause because I did want to get my sweater done, but I will be picking this back up. This is the Ooey Gooey Cowl, and this is in the purple, is 2 strands of Chaos Yarn Organic Brushed Alpaca in the colorway Magnificent, and then the multi-variegated color is Less Traveled yarn 757 sock in Daytime Supernova. So I absolutely love how this is turning out. The way that this works is I'm going to be essentially knitting a long tube, and then I'm going to be doing a little bit of a twisty action in the front. So that'll be interesting. I haven't done one of those in a hot minute, so that will be something fun to try right before Rhinebeck. But hopefully I have this done so I can wear it as well. But we shall see. So this is my Ooey Gooey Cowl. Wow, brain. Craziness. All right. My last whip that I have for now is this lovely friend that is inspired by the upcoming album, The Life of a Showgirl, Taylor Swift's 12th album. And I saw this yarn. I was at Knitter's Edge last week for a trunk show with Little Wolf Knits. And I saw this yarn at Knitter's Edge, and I was like, that would look really pretty in a shawl. What does it remind me of? Oh, the album artwork and the colors that are the inspiration for the 12th album. And so let me show you the yarn now. This is Louisa Harding's yarn in the Gabrielle base, which is a sparkly cotton polyester beautiful situation. It's a cream yarn with lots of aqua and coral to it, so hopefully that's showing up on camera. I think it is. So this was the inspo. I'm like, I could make something really fast for the upcoming release party that I'm going to be going to. And so I am going to be pairing it with this lovely yarn that I picked up at Lehigh Valley Fiber Fest in Pennsylvania, also last weekend. And this is my progress so far. So this is the Wiosna shawl by Comfort Zone Knits. It is a garter and lace shawl. I'm doing it at a larger gauge. It's a fingering weight shawl normally. Fingering weight or DK? I can't remember. But I'm essentially holding a fingering weight, and this Louisa yarn is apparently a DK. I don't see it at the moment, but I'm holding them together, so it's definitely going to be a bigger gauge than the original pattern. I am working it up on a US size 7, and the original pattern I think calls for a 5. So I'm really happy with how it's turning out. I've done the first repeat of lace. I'm going to do, it switches off lace garter, lace garter, lace garter, and then finishes with a lace section. So I'm essentially going to go do the pattern, do the pattern, do the pattern, do the pattern until I run out of yarn, because there's no need for it to be left over, but I'm really excited. I only have a week to work on this, so actually maybe the Ooey Gooey will be held off for another week, and I will work on this right after I finish up the Pictus pullover. But isn't she fun? She's really pretty. She's got a bit of sparkle. You can see a bit of the aqua little neps in here. And yeah, lots and lots of fun. And I'm not always a fan of working with cotton, but this particular, the coral color, this is 50% silk and 50% merino wool. So I barely even noticed the cotton. But yeah, this is the last of my whips for today. Okay, so I mentioned a couple yarns that I picked up last weekend, so I'm going to show you a couple more that I picked up. I picked up a bunch of spinning fiber. I have put that away for now, so I'm not going to show it today, but I do want to show you the 2 other yarny things that I bought last weekend. So at the trunk show, I picked up these 2 skeins. This is part of her Wicked collection. This is the Little Wolf Knits in One Short Day. It's a very beautiful green color in her DK base. It's 100% superwash merino. I am going to be making Eagles socks in these, so I wanted to make long socks in green. They're probably going to be cables. I'm very excited about them. This is going to be my knit that I'm going to start after Christmas and hopefully finish before the new year. So I'm trying to work through my Make 9, but after I finish my Make 9 stuff, this is the next project I'm going to cast on. Or maybe I'll cast it on while I'm working on my last Make 9. We'll see. But I really want another pair of Eagle socks. And this yarn is so squishy and soft and going to be awesome for winter and also the playoff season. Because let's be honest, our birds are doing awesome and they're going to make it to the playoffs. I am putting that out in the universe right now. Go birds, fly Eagles fly. Let's make some socks. And then one of my favorite dyers that's local to me right now is Sheepyshire. I forget where exactly she's based. I believe it's in Pennsylvania. Could be wrong. She's close enough to come to Lehigh Fiber Festival, which is a smaller fiber festival. Anyway, this was I'm guessing one of her discontinued colorways. This is the colorway Ta-Da on her mohair base. Everyone knows I love good mohair. Do I have a project for this? No. But do I have over 1,300 yards worth of this mohair? Yes. Could I make a shawl with it? Yes. Could I put it in a sweater? Yes. So, anyway, I thought this was gorgeous. I'm probably going to pick up some fun neutral colored yarn so that when I pair it with this for a sweater, it is like the shining star. But isn't this? I'm just going to show you up close. It's beautiful with all of the wonderful like sprays of pink and purple and teal, and I just saw this. I was like, yeah, it's coming home with me. So, and she was on sale, so we like it when we can get a nice deal. But Sheepyshire is a lot of fun. The colorways are always bright and beautiful, and I'm really, really, really excited to see how this works out. So maybe this will be in a Make 9 for next year. We will see. All right, so yarn acquisitions, finished objects, whips. The last but not least, I did a poll last week on my Instagram, and I asked my knitting fiber friends what they thought I should pick for yarn for the upcoming Mystery Knit Along with Stephen West, which this year is called Mystery Musicale. The colorway inspiration, it was all pretty much solids or semi-solids in different varieties. So you had some that were really bold that didn't have much of a color theme to them, meaning like all different shades of the spectrum. You had some really beautiful gradients and then some neutrals that had like one pop of color. So I took to Instagram with 5 different selections, and I had everyone vote, and I'm going to share with you the colorway that I chose after we did the vote, because I did have to end up choosing. There was a tie. Anyway, before I get to that, I'm going to drink some iced tea, and then I'm going to discuss my past Stephen West shawls with you. Okay, so, all right, I'm going to go in order of the shawls in the order that I knit them. This was my first Stephen West shawl, and she actually is in the mend pile because I believe the cats got into her and there's a little stitch that got ripped. But this is my shawlography shawl. This was 100% Malabrigo Mechita, well, I should say, it was 80% Malabrigo Machita and then 1 skein of Less Traveled yarn. This is where my Less Traveled yarn obsession started, and shortly after I knit the shawl, Sarah from Less Traveled Yarn decided that she was going to stop dyeing yarn, and I was really sad, so I've been on the hunt for it anyway in the last several years for any colors I could find. This is probably, I have a really nostalgic love for the shawl. For one, the colors, these are some of my favorite colors to knit with. The fact that they're all in one shawl is just the cake. I love this shawl to no end. This was also like my first big, like, huge shawl that I made. I had made a couple smaller pieces in previously, but in 2021 I was just starting to like really get into it, and I had a thing for mystery knit alongs. I liked the idea that I didn't know what everything was going to look like, but that I got to learn a bunch of new techniques. And I will say that since I started knitting these mystery knit alongs, this probably was the scariest one for me because I was just starting out with trying all these different techniques. Like, let me use this for an example. We made I-cords that ended up being little loops for a whole section. I have these crazy crisscross situations down here. I have these two like big stripe sections with stripes on their own, not a huge crazy thing, but they're German short rows, so you're decreasing as you're going, so you have equidistant on either side. Like, there's just so much happening. Let's not even get into the fact that we started out with this I-cord situation with these wedges. Like, this in itself was so much freaky in the beginning for me that I'm kind of shocked that we kept on going, but this is like one of my favorite shawls I've ever knit, and it's my first Stephen West shawl. Again, it holds nostalgia. It holds some of my favorite colors that I knit with. I mean, obviously, like yellow. But I absolutely love this one. It's probably like top, I guess I should say top 5 shawls that I've ever knit. My next mystery knit along, this is the 2023 Stephen West shawl. So that was 2021. This is 2023. I hated 2022's shawl, so I decided not to knit it. I took a year off. I think shawlography had gotten to me a little bit, and I was like, we're not there yet to do 2022 shawl. But I did come back for 2023. This shawl was interesting in the fact that it was a gradient that he wanted, but also the fact that we started in the middle. The reason why this is not one of my favorite things that I've knit is because the process of doing the center on this made me so mad. But I love the yarn that I worked with. I absolutely love, like, once I got past that, doing these beautiful like woven sections, that was a lot of fun. This border was a ton of fun. And again, the yarn is one of my favorite yarns, but I also noticed that after I knit this shawl, I didn't like using single ply yarn. I had used single ply yarn for this shawl as well as shawlography and some of the colors, and I was like, from now on, I'm not buying single ply yarn, unless it's more of like one of, I avoid single ply yarn in perpetuity. This was made up in 3 colors of Less Traveled yarn, and then one of my favorite indie dyers from New Jersey, which is New Jersey Fiberworks, she made up this beautiful green speckle situation, which just added some nice diversity, because these other colors were more like tonals with some speckle, if any. So this is my Geo Gradient shawl from Stephen West. This was the 2023 pattern. Okay. 2024. This was the 15th year he did the shawl, so this is the Go-Go Dynamo. This thing is huge. And I will say, these are probably not my favorite colors that I've knit with, but the designs in this shawl were a lot of fun to do. So, first, again, we've got this bobble situation that's up top here. Then we also have these fun little squares that go throughout. So we've got bobbles and squares, and then we have these stripes that lean into the semicircles. Now throughout, I added, because it was a 2-color shawl, I was like, I want to add some fun. He recommended adding some fun in places. I added a little more fun in more places than he did. And by fun, I mean I added some Sari to hold with the white color that I had here. The blue actually came from my friend Victoria in a swap. It was from leftovers from one of the sweaters that she had made. And I'm like, oh, this is really pretty. I'll add it to the shawl. The white, couldn't tell you what the white is. I don't remember. But the Sari alpaca is the alpaca fluff from Sheepyshire in a colorway that I don't remember, but I absolutely love, and if I see it again I will pick it up because it's just so fun. Like this particular triangle is a good representation of what the yarn looks like. So this is the Go-Go Dynamo. Again, not my favorite colors, but I really do like all the geometry in this shawl, all the curves. I wouldn't be a Stephen West shawl without some brioche. I think Geo Gradient might be the only year that I've done a shawl. Maybe, no, I lied. Okay. It's not used in every single shawl, but it is a very Stephen West technique to use. So this is last year's mystery knit along. Wow. Year 15. And then I wanted to show you, because I showed you Fiberfest at the very beginning. This is the other Stephen West shawl that I knit. That wasn't a mystery knit along. This was actually, I believe, one of his like winter yarn along situations. This is called the Aurora Cabin shawl. This is knit up in Little Fox fibers, the Vixen base, as well as I think there's a Less Traveled in here, as well as a maybe an Emma's yarn. This is probably my one, again, a top 5 shawl for me. I love all the colors in here. This was a lot of fun to knit. By the time I got to the bottom, I was really kind of done doing this section. But I still really enjoyed it. It's a reverse stockinette section that also has like these slipped stitches that cause these really fun bubbles. So that was kind of like the main theme for the shawl. I picked this yarn up at Cake Palooza a couple years back, and if I can't knit in my mustard or my rust or my teal, I'm going to pick olive, mauve, garnet, and cream, and whatever this kind of slate blue is. So another fun shawl, again, another top 5 shawl for me. I just really love how this turned out, and it's huge. It's a beautiful little schlanket. But yeah, that's the last Stephen West shawl that I've knit. And now let's go in to see what we're working with for this year. So, like I mentioned before I started showing off all those shawls, I had 5 different colorways that I had everyone vote on. I had people on Instagram voting. I had some family and friends voting. A couple of my knitting group voting, and it almost seemed to be outstandingly one way. And like that was kind of funny because this was like one of the first color situations that I put together. So without further ado, oh, I've already seen a little peek. I'm just trying to situate everything together. this is this year's shawl. This is my colorway. This is called, I've called this the Blush and Rust colorway. I wanted to go, I had a couple that were like really kind of pops of color, and I had a couple that were like more of a gradient situation. This is one of the two that got the most votes. The determining factor was that when I was reading up on the intro to the pattern, I needed so much yardage, and unfortunately fortunately for this colorway, the other colorway, one of the colors was short, so I decided that was going to be my deciding factor. I have these beautiful colors here that I'm going to share with you first. This is by Expression Fiber Arts in the Blossom Fingering in Poised. It is this beautiful kind of plummy chocolate brown. It's not brown. It looks brown. Wow. Let's slow this all down. It is brown. It has purple undertones. So it's not just straight up brown. It is got some like sheen and definitely like plummy purpleness to it. So that's the dark color. I have two colors from the Sewrella Classic Sock Base. Again, one of my favorite dyers. The blush pink color, ballet slipper color, is in the colorway August. And then this rusty, bricky color is an aptly named Brick. So I have these two. And then the last yarn, which I actually picked up at an event in 2022 that no longer exists, but it was my first time getting to experience botanical yarn. They're based in England, and I love her colorways. This is her colorway for 2022. So she's got a bit of different speckles in her, which are going to complement the rest of the solids. So this is going to be my Mystery Musicale shawl for 2025. And I can't wait to see next week. We're going to cast on and see how it all goes. Who knows? I might start knitting in this and then be like, this ain't it. But that's okay. It's part of the fun. I have a lot of options if we decide that this is not the way to go. And that's good. I think this colorway probably looks most or leans most towards the Aurora Cabin shawl, because we have some of this kind of like rusty garnet color and some of this like kind of blush situation going. But this on itself, like I don't have a straight up just like pink shawl. So that will be fun to do and add to the collection. But yeah, so I talked a lot today about a lot of different things. The last thing I'm going to mention, it's not yarn related, so if you'd like to kick off now, that is perfectly fine. This is a little bit of a life update, health update situation. The last episode that I filmed was in August, and I was still working towards my 75 medium challenge. Like a week and a half after I filmed that episode, we quit 75 hard before the deadline because I was starting to feel like it wasn't being a positive situation for me anymore. There were a couple of things with 75 hard, not the eating clean, not the exercising. There were a couple of things that just didn't seem to mesh well with my lifestyle. And so I decided that I was going to keep the good habits that I've been building, which was like tracking my calorie intake and making sure I stayed in a calorie deficit, drinking lots of water, and still getting up and moving most every day. I don't hit 45 minutes of exercise every single day now. I hit 45 minutes every Monday through Friday, and then if I get to be doing some exercise on the weekends, great. But because our weekends are starting to ramp up with lots of fun fall activities, adding a 45-minute workout when you're out all day or all night isn't conducive when you have other things going on. So that's kind of like where we've modified, but I've added splitting up my workouts a little bit in the morning and a little bit in the afternoon, so I'm able to do some before work and do the rest of it when I get home, and that's been really helpful. Since July, I've been able to keep off 11 pounds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm really excited about it because it shows that I'm doing this in a healthy way. I do not feel like I've taken away anything from my life, aside from 45 minutes a day to not knit, which is perfectly fine. So the fact that I've been able to keep off the weight, still enjoy takeout, ice cream, you know, sweets, alcohol, like, I don't feel like my life is lacking in any way. And I'm doing it in a way that I'm listening to how my body is feeling and feeding it what it wants and also what it needs to stay healthy. And again, if this is not your jam, that's perfectly okay, but it's a section of these videos now that I want to kind of keep as a journal, because it's nice to, not that I'm going to look back, but to just kind of like speak into existence, like I am feeling good. One thing that I have told myself I need to start doing is actually like doing body measurements, because the one thing that at one point was really a struggle for me was when I seemed to just keep holding the same weight level, but I was noticing positive changes. I just didn't know what the numbers were. Like, I noticed like, oh, not super bloated, my jeans are fitting better, or my blouse is fitting better, like those like little things like that. So keeping like standard body measurements, also helpful for knitting, so I know what size to be knitting patterns at. But yeah, so I've quit 75 medium. I'm very happy about it. Not at all. At first I was kind of upset that I couldn't finish 75 days, but after taking some time to reflect on it all, like, I listened to what I needed. Doing something just for the sake of doing something isn't good enough. Doing something to say just like so I could check it off of a list, not good enough. I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time, and I'm going to do what I want to be content, happy, and live a fulfilled lifestyle. So that's all to say. If you've held on this long, thank you for listening to me rant and ramble. I hope to see you all soon. I don't know if I'll film again before Rhinebeck. So if you watch this video and you'd like to talk to me more about Rhinebeck, I'll definitely do that offline with you. But I'm really excited to go this year and spend time with my friends and do our normal situation, and I'll come back and I'll share with you what I've got, more of my finished projects, what I'll be working on. I'll have a lot to show in this next video. So yeah, I think we're gonna wait until after Rhinebeck for an update, but I can't wait to talk to y'all soon, and keep an eye out on Instagram for some more updates on my WIP progress and all of that. So have a great rest of your week. Enjoy the rainy weather that we're having here in New Jersey, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!